opinion about Donald Trump's claim that he cannot be prosecuted for any crimes committed while he was president of the United States. This opinion is very bad news for Donald Trump and virtually guarantees that Donald Trump will lose his appeal of trial court judge Tanya Chutkan's ruling that presidents of the United States are not above the law and can indeed be charged with crimes that they committed while in office. At least one member of the Supreme Court has already agreed in writing with Judge Chutkan's ruling. And what makes this an especially crushing setback to Donald Trump's hopes in the Supreme Court is that the member of the court who fully agrees with Judge Chutkan is one of the three justices appointed by Donald Trump. That means there are likely tonight at least 4 votes against Donald Trump on the Supreme Court, with only one more vote needed to crush the Trump appeal. The breaking news of the night is actually 25 years old. In July 1998, Brett Kavanaugh wrote a 38-page article for the Georgetown Law Journal, complete with 167 footnotes. The title of what is now the most important thing Brett Kavanaugh ever wrote before becoming a Supreme Court justice is The President and the Independent Counsel. Brett Kavanaugh reviewed the history of special prosecutors going back to the administration of President Ulysses S. Grant. On page 3 of the article, Brett Kavanaugh writes, Congress can answer a question that the Constitution does not explicitly address. Is the President of the United States subject to criminal indictment while he serves in office? Congress should establish that the President can be indicted only after he leaves office voluntarily or is impeached by the House of Representatives and convicted and removed by the Senate. Brett Kavanaugh would not advocate that Congress pass an unconstitutional law, and so that sentence alone indicates that Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh believes, quote, the president can be indicted only after he leaves office. Page 16 of Brett Kavanaugh's article removes all doubt about what Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh actually thinks. Quote, the framers thus appeared to anticipate that a president who commits serious wrongdoing should be impeached by the House and removed from office by the Senate, and then prosecuted thereafter. The Constitution itself seems to dictate, in addition, that congressional investigation must take place in lieu of criminal investigation when the president is the subject of investigation, and that criminal prosecution can occur only after the president has left office. And right there, in writing, Brett Kavanaugh destroys the totality of Donald Trump's appeal to the United States Supreme Court. Brett Kavanaugh destroys the idea that a president cannot be prosecuted after leaving office for crimes committed while in office. And simultaneously, Brett Kavanaugh destroys the absurd Trump lawyer notion that it would be double jeopardy to prosecute Donald Trump now after he faced an impeachment trial in the United States Senate for essentially the same high crimes. I'm going to read these 2 sentences again, because these 2 sentences prove just how quickly the United States Supreme Court can actually handle this appeal and write a fully authoritative opinion in this appeal, because the Supreme Court's opinion could be written by Brett Kavanaugh and amount to only these 2 sentences. The framers thus appeared to anticipate that a president who commits serious wrongdoing should be impeached by the House and removed from office by the Senate and then prosecuted thereafter. The Constitution itself seems to dictate, in addition, that congressional investigation must take place in lieu of criminal investigation when the president is the subject of investigation, and that criminal prosecution can occur only after the president has left office. And of course, Brett Kavanaugh's article quotes the Constitution in full support of his position. Article 1, Section 3, Clause 7, quote, judgment in cases of impeachment shall not extend further than to removal from office and disqualification to hold and enjoy any office of honor, trust, or profit under the United States. But the party convicted shall nevertheless be liable and subject to indictment, trial, judgment, and punishment according to law. So the Constitution says that after leaving the presidency, Donald Trump is, quote, subject to indictment, trial, judgment, and punishment according to law. It's all over. It's all over. The presidential immunity that Donald Trump's constitutionally illiterate criminal defense lawyers have invented is a fiction that will likely be crushed by the Supreme Court unanimously. Any member of the Supreme Court trying to rule for Donald Trump will have to find a way to rewrite the line of the Constitution that says that a former president is, quote, subject to indictment, trial, judgment, and punishment according to law. It cannot be done. You cannot rewrite that line. Donald Trump will be going to trial in the case of United States of America versus Donald J. Trump, possibly on the scheduled trial date of March 4th, if the United States Supreme Court acts quickly enough in this appeal, which the court in the past has known how to do. Donald Trump is definitely going to trial in the case of Georgia versus Donald Trump. Donald Trump will definitely go to trial in the criminal case of New York versus Donald Trump for business fraud. And Donald Trump is definitely going to trial in the criminal case of United States of America versus Donald J. Trump in federal court in Florida, where the federal judge in that case appointed by Donald Trump will continue to do everything she possibly can to delay the trial and help Donald Trump in any way she possibly can. Brett Kavanaugh won't be doing that for Donald Trump. Brett Kavanaugh destroyed Donald Trump's appeal in writing 25 years ago. There is no more important Trump legal news tonight than the words Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh wrote 25 years ago.